Bore da, Prynawn da, Croeso, welcome to another Flames War Battle Report, continuing the D-Day starter set reports with the Germans having their first game and the British having their second. So I'll be commanding the Germans today and my friend Jimmy will be commanding the British. So we'll have a little look at the forces, and yes, a disclaimer, these forces will not be very well matched, as they are basically the example force you get in your respective books. It's basically a stepping stone for new players, and so I give examples of what you could do to expand it to make it a bit more competitive, but that is it. So yes, you'll probably see some very strange, very weak formations in this series.
Okay, so here we have the D-Day German starter set on its first run out. So this is the example they give you in the D-Day German book. So it is a Panzer IV company. We have 2 Panzer IVs for the HQ, a platoon of 3 Panzer IVs and 2 Tigers, and that is it for your formation. So a couple of well-timed shots from your opponent and that is your game done. So we'll have a look at the rest of this and what I would recommend if you're looking to continue using your Panzer IV company as you learn to play the game. So in support we have a full armoured Panzer Grenadier platoon, so these are quite nice, mobile, got lots of MGs, quite good. We also have 2 88s, so very good for popping enemy tanks. Only 2 though, so you lose 1 and they'll be last standing. We have a unit of 3 Stugs, 3 Nebs and 2 Puma Scout cars. Now what I would probably do, I would probably swap out the 3 Stugs for Panzer IVs, just strengthen up this formation a little bit. And also there's a lucky card being involved in this formation as well. I tend to run, if I'm running Germans, I tend to have more infantry companies with tank support, as their tanks are a bit expensive, and at this point in the D-Day lists the Allies have plenty of guns that can pop your medium armour with ease. So mentioning British anti-tank, Allied anti-tank capability, let's have a look at Jimmy's British D-Day list. Okay, and this is the British D-Day example force. Seen it before, this is its second outing. We have a Cromwell, a Desert Rat Cromwell squadron. So we have 1 Cromwell for the HQ, 2 platoons of Cromwells, so there's basically 2 Cromwells and a Sherman Firefly, and then we have 4 Stuarts at the back. And now his Desert Rats, so they're cautious but not stupid. So decent formation here, obviously a little bit stronger than the Germans with an extra unit. In support we have a British paratrooper platoon with an additional Piat, bringing it up to 2 Piats and 7 rifle teams. We have 3 Desert Rat Universal Carriers, a Daimler troop consisting of 2 Daimlers and 2 Dingoes. We have 2 M10 Achilles, which would really not be fun for me. So these are very good 17 pounders fitting in an M10 chassis, 80-14, so good at popping Tigers, these guys. We have a unit of 4 British 25 pounders and 3 Churchill Crocodiles with a whopping front armour 11. So like all the other D-Day sets, they have the lucky card as well, rounding up to 100. As you can see, fairly decent formation, but like all the others, could do with beefing up your formation. So another box of Cromwells with an extra Firefly in the set, just to add some more meat to those bones, just to keep you in the game a little bit longer, and then maybe go down the infantry route. That's what I prefer to do, and have tanks more in support. But at the end of the day, you play how you playstyle suits you and what you like to do. So don't listen to me telling you what to do. So we'll have a look at the board, basically using the same table I set up for my last game, but I'm going to try and Frenchify it. So here's today's table. Was a nice table last week, so felt that it'd be nice to keep the same. So as you can see, I have added bocage to Frenchify it a little bit more. So less forest, but more bocage. So bulletproof terrain, tall terrain as well, so it will block line of sight. So this should be fairly interesting terrain. So let's see where Jimmy decides to deploy. Okay, so Jimmy's defending this side and I will be attacking from this side with my immediate reserves against Jimmy's scattered delayed reserves. So speaking of reserves, he has Universal Carriers, a Cromwell troop, the Cromwell HQ, and the Churchill troop. So pretty much the same as what Richard did when he had them, and he also has the M10 Achilles in ambush. As for myself, I have the Tigers and the Stugs in ambush. So that brings it to 41 points for me. Oh, not ambush, reserve, immediate reserve. Thanks, Jimmy. So we can see here we have an objective here and it is guarded by a Cromwell troop. In the middle we have the 25 pounders because that gives them the most favourable line of sight, especially onto their ranged in marker, which is on my objective. We have the Daimler troop in the middle of the town with the paratroopers and the Desert Rat Stuarts on the immediate left. For me, I have the Panzer IV contingent and the Armoured Grenadiers on my left. I have the Nebs on the hill, the Flak 88s by the farmhouse, probably the best place to put them, and my two Pumas by the bocage over here. So that is it. I do have first turn. Best of luck to you, James. Let's see how this goes. Okay, German movement, no reserves have come in. So these guys here did a terrain dash and then attempted to do a follow me. These guys just did a tactical up into a position where I can see one Cromwell clearly. Armoured Panzer Grenadiers did a cross-country dash because they were in the opening, and then a follow me got them into concealment. And that is it for movement, so now we go into shooting. Okay, so I started off placing a smoke barrage using my Nebs, starting by here going across. I got one hit on the Cromwell. Jimmy failed his save, but then I failed my firepower, so I burnt my lucky card. Since they remount on the 3, I think having one less Cromwell to deal with over here will be a good trade-off. So we are going into British turn 1. Desert Rat movement. So over here the Firefly has moved back to get into line of sight onto the Panzer IVs, using his buddy as cover, and the Cromwell is looking down the gap of this house to go for the Armoured Panzer Grenadiers. The Daimlers are moving over to support this flank. Over on this flank we have the paratroopers moving up with a follow me, and the Stuarts doing a cross country as well. So that is it for British movement. Now we're going into shooting phase. Okay, British shooting. The 25 pounders ranged in on the hill. They can see all the way through. Look, this is probably the only point where there's no tall terrain. First time ranged in, hit both Nebs, pinning the unit. Failed my save in the middle one, but Jimmy failed his firepower. Over on the left, the Firefly got a hit on a 6. Of course, I had no armour save and then popped with the firepower. His Cromwell, however, did miss. So that is it. Now we go into German turn 2. German motivation and movement, I got both of my reserves on. In the meantime, movement wise, my Panzer IVs moved along the bocage here, so they can see through it and see some of the enemy units. HQ Panzers moved up here. I've got about 4 bases of the Panzer Grenadiers in this terrace, and the rest are in the bank because that's how far I could move them. On this flank is where I moved my Tigers, which did a road dash and then a follow me, because apparently Tigers are super fast somehow. Pumas, I tried to do a blitz move and then a tactical to get them to here, but they failed their blitz, so I just left them where they are. And then on this flank as well, I have the 3 Stugs. And that is it, so now we go into shooting. Right, something I missed in the startup step was to rally the Nebs, which I promptly failed. So they were going to range in over here and take out some paratroopers, but instead an 88 fired and took one out instead. Over here, my HQ Panzer IV missed, and then I managed to get 2 hits apiece on the Firefly and Cromwell respectively, resulting in 2 bales, which is quite good for me, since I have infantry in this building. So I can pop out and ask them to surrender, and due to the range, this Firefly is going to go as well, opening up this flank. Jimmy does have an ambush though, well, let's see how this develops then. So in the assault phase, of course, they came out, British surrendered, and now my Grenadiers occupy this terrace building completely. Was thinking about pushing them further towards the objective, but with the Daimlers lurking around, thought against it. So now we go into British turn 2. Okay, so the ambush has popped. This is where the Achilles are, so it could be dangerous for these Panzer IVs. You know, this formation's quite brittle. I want to take is one well-placed ambush, although it'll be harder to hit me than Richard did with the Panther, sorry. Daimlers did a terrain dash moving around. Obviously, 25 pounds has stayed put. Over here, the paratroopers are moving over the hill. As you can see, the unit leader being brave, but the rest not. And then the Stuarts are going to have a go at the Pumas and see how that goes. So we have British shooting turn 2. So Jimmy started in this corner, got 3 hits on the Panzer IVs with the Achilles, and I suppose fortunately for me, he failed one of his firepowers, leaving one of them remaining. He then ranged his 25 pounders on the house, seeing through the gap, hitting 2 of the Grenadiers but failing to kill any, and then getting snake eyes on the 2 half tracks. Over here, even without the overworked rule on the guns, he would have missed the Pumas completely. So that is it. So now we go into German turn 3, and hopefully my Panzer IV tank won't run away. German motivation, Nebs are still pinned, the Grenadiers have unpinned, which is nice, and this Panzer IV, sorry, remains bailed out but still in the fight. So that is it, and I go into my movement. Okay, German movement. I was very tempted to leave my Panzer IV here to have a crack at the Achilles and then pass a shoot and scoot, but I thought better, because if Jimmy kills him and him, it's game. So I've done a terrain dash with a follow me to get within command range of this bailed out Panzer IV, and hopefully, if he sticks around, he'll get motivation. Otherwise, it's just keeping him in the fight. Panzer Grenadiers have moved here, so we just made it easier and just swapped the terrace buildings around, so that's why they're different. They used the blitz move as well, so they got here a bit quicker, and the half tracks are moving as well. Over yonder, the Stugs have taken a position to engage the Stuarts, and the Tigers have moved to engage infantry, and the Pumas are just going to stay stationary for a little bit longer, maybe shoot, we don't know. Okay, my shooting wasn't amazing. I only managed to get 1 Stuart with the Stugs and the Pumas. I managed to pin the paratroopers, but no kills out of 6 hits. I managed to take out 25 pounders with the half tracks and combined with the infantry pin them, and that was my shooting. So now we go into British turn 3, and they have their first chance to get reserves in, which they do. But where they come, well, first of all, we'll decide what he wants to bring in, but then we'll have to roll to see from where they will turn up. Okay, British motivation. Paratroopers have rallied, 25 pounds had rallied, and James was brought in as Cromwell troop, and he rolled a 5, so he was able to bring them up onto the corner, and I bloody went and forgot about this, didn't I? So, well, this could be game. This could be game if he has a good shooting phase. So, you know, 3 shots hitting me on 4s. Well, you never know. And also he has enough to get rid of the other Panzer IV with the Tigers. So, all depends on... Achilles, sorry, not Tigers. They have Tiger Tamer written on them. So, is your movement phase. Okay, British movement. The Daimlers are moving around. Dingoes are going to gear up to fire into the house. And the other 2 Daimlers are going to go for the half tracks. Over here... James is going for it, so the paratroopers are moving into assault position with one of the Piats in a position, just one of the Piats in a position to actually try and fire a Tiger tank and see what they can do. And one of the Stuarts have moved using the wreckage of his friend for cover. Not that it might not need it, so we will go into shooting phase. Okay, so over on this corner, the Stuarts only got 1 hit, and that was the guy who moved, and he managed to just bail a Puma. Over here, the Piat missed. spectacularly on a 1. The 25 pounders, 2 of them directly fired into this building, getting no kills, and one of them, as James said, blatted a half track. The 2 Daimlers managed to bail and kill a half track respectively, and the Dingers opened up. And then over here, the Achilles finished off the last Panzer IV, and 2 hits resulted in 1 successful firepower, and that's game. But James wants to do the assault, which I believe he can do. He's already won the game, but he wants to do this, and well, it'd be nice, maybe I can wipe out a paratrooper unit and lower the scale of victory for the British. So we're going to do this, and then we'll let you know what happens. Okay, so the assault, one of the paratroopers died, the Piat failed to hit, and then I failed my counterattack, because it turns out the counterattack on the Tiger is a 4, and everything else is 2s and 3s, but counterattack is a 4, being regular motivation. So they broke off, and well fought victory for James. Looked all in the balance, but a well placed ambush helped, and also some good dice on the Achilles, and also a very well placed reserve roll coming in, so very good. So my man of the match, probably the platoon of Panzer IVs, because they actually killed something. Well, actually, they didn't kill anything. They bailed stuff. It was the Panzer Grenadiers who did the work. So actually, I'll give it to the Armoured Panzer Grenadiers, because they took out the Cromwell, the Firefly, and the attached unit, which basically counts as what they've done, killed a 25 pounder. And James is probably a difficult choice of what he wants to pick for man of the match, or most valuable player.
I mean, the only thing has to be the Achilles.
Yeah.
Without them.
I think we probably all thought from the beginning of the game the Achilles would be the well-placed Achilles, and well, the last time they did an ambush in the D-Day starter set reports, they took out a Panther HQ unit in 1 round. So yeah, they are really earning the money. So they've got 1 more game left against the Americans, so I wonder if they'll do the same job there, and I'll be using them that time, so yay. So that is it. Thanks for watching, a nice quick one. So yeah, so roll on the next battle report.